So some of you may have seen this short that I did. It was a collaboration with Dr. Anthony Chafee. He had already done a short on this one thing, and I worked with him and did a thing where I kind of put my own video up at the top and kind of made a joke out of it. So let's look at that video over here really quick.
So whenever anyone goes to a carnivore, they always worry about fat. I always think that if you eat fat, you're gonna get fat. I get about 70-80% of my calories from fat, and I'm not fat. Fat doesn't make you fat. Fat makes you lean, strong, and healthy.
So I don't normally eat, out of the block of butter like that. But I gotta say, at least I thought it was pretty funny, in my opinion. So, that was kind of my little humor that I tried to instill into, one of my videos for doing the carnivore diet. But, that brings up a good question. How much fat should I be eating? How much is too much? How much is not enough? All that stuff, right? And this is something that really I've learned just with talking to Dr. Anthony Chafee before. And that's kind of what I'm going to go through is, what he has said to me and what makes a lot of sense. Everybody is different, right? First of all, but, so you can't really just say, oh, you should eat this much fat. Everybody is different. Some people are going to need a little bit more fat. Some people are going to need a little less. Depending on where they're at in their journey, they might need a little more or a little less. But the best way to try and gauge how much fat intake you need, and that doesn't mean just eating butter, right? That's just one way you can get butter, cooking something in butter or something like that. So there's other fat, obviously. There's a lot of saturated fat in eggs, meat, ground beef, red meat, whatever, so forth. But the best way to know if you're getting enough fat is based on how your pooping is. And that's right, how your pooping is. So if you're kind of constipated, having issues there, then you're not getting enough fat. But let's make sure that we clarify that, because some people might think they're constipated and they're really not, because you're coming from the standard American diet and you might be going 2, 3, even 4 times a day for some people, right? And it's not unusual once you've been on carnivore for a bit that you go once a day or maybe once every 2 days, something like that. Some people even it's once every 2 to 3 days. They're not really constipated, but that's all that they go. For the most part, I find that I go once a day, usually around the same time of day. It's not hard to get out, but it's also not diarrhea or anything like that. It's not runny, wet, whatever. It's a somewhat small amount, and occasionally there's a day I don't go, but usually it's once a day around the same time of day, and it's just a little amount, and that's not being constipated. That's just normal. Taking it the other way, though, if you have diarrhea, then you need to lower your fat intake a little bit because you're having a problem with the fat, especially maybe if you're having a lot of rendered fat, that's been cooked out into liquid and so forth. So you want to lower the fat intake a little bit and see if you can get that to a more normal poop, right? So it's really as simple as that, because it is different for everybody, and it's kind of listening to your body, right? Your body knows what's the right amount for you, and if you're not getting enough, you kind of have issues and are constipated, and if you're getting too much, then that's when you get more of the diarrhea form of going to the bathroom. That all said, especially if you go straight in and you don't ease in over 4 to 6 weeks when you first go carnivore, you will have diarrhea, and it doesn't necessarily mean anything that you're eating too much fat at the beginning. A lot of people actually find that they need to eat more fat at the beginning than they do a little bit later in carnivore. But, that first week, 2 weeks or so, if you go straight in, just be ready that you're probably going to have diarrhea and it could be explosive at times. And that's part of going just straight in. If you ease into it slowly over 4 to 6 weeks, slowly cutting out the sugar, the carbs, and slowly adding in your fat intake, then most people tend to not have that problem. But just be aware that that could happen in the first couple of weeks. And then after that, if you're still having diarrhea or if you develop diarrhea later, it's probably just that you have a little bit higher fat intake than what your body really needs at that particular time. So just lower it a little bit. So let me know in the comments your take on that. What have you experienced? If you went and dove straight into carnivore, did you have some issues with diarrhea in the first couple weeks? Have you had any issues with constipation or diarrhea after that? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video.